I was standing in the checkout line at Costco last month, watching the guy in front of me unload his cart. 16 items. I did some quick math in my head, and I realized at least 5 of those things were not saving him money at all. Most people think Costco membership means automatic savings. That's not always true. Some of the biggest sellers in that store are actually quiet money leaks, and nobody talks about it because the brand loyalty runs so deep. I've shopped there for years. I still shop there. But somewhere around item 6 on this list, I found something that genuinely surprised me. Something I had been buying for over a decade without questioning it once. If you want to actually save money at Costco, instead of just feeling like you are, stick with me. I'm going to walk through 11 things a lot of shoppers grab out of habit, not out of value. Subscribe now, because next week I'm breaking down the reverse of this list, the things actually worth the drive. Let's start. Item number 1. The rotisserie chicken. Everyone loves the $5 rotisserie chicken. It feels like the ultimate Costco win. Here's the part people don't think about. That chicken is priced as a loss leader, meaning it's meant to get you in the door, not to be the smart buy on its own. The portion size per dollar looks great until you compare it to a whole chicken on sale at a regular grocery store during a weekly promotion. Retail analysts have pointed out for years that loss leaders are designed to build foot traffic, not to represent the store's actual margins on food. It's a pricing strategy, not a gift. I used to grab one every single trip, almost automatically. Then I started tracking what I actually did with it. Half the time it sat in my fridge for 4 days before I finished it, and I ended up throwing part of it away. When I actually costed out the chicken versus buying just the pieces I needed at a regular store, the savings weren't nearly as dramatic as they felt in the moment. If you're buying it because you'll use every part of it that same week, fine, it's still a reasonable deal. If you're buying it because $5 feels irresistible, track your actual usage for a month. You might be surprised how much ends up wasted. This is the kind of purchase that feels smart in the store and quietly costs you at home. Item number 2. The giant bags of spinach and mixed greens. The 3-pound bag of greens looks like such an obvious win per ounce. The problem is spoilage. Leafy greens have a short shelf life, and most households of 1 to 3 people cannot realistically eat 3 pounds of spinach before it turns. Food waste researchers have repeatedly flagged bulk produce as one of the top categories where household food waste actually happens, not because people don't want to eat healthy, but because the volume outpaces the timeline. Consumer complaint boards and grocery forums are full of the same story, people finding half the bag gone slimy by day 6. I did this exact thing for 2 years straight before I paid attention. I would buy the big bag with good intentions, use maybe a third of it, and toss the rest. When I finally sat down and calculated the real cost per usable ounce, accounting for what got thrown out, it was nearly the same price as buying smaller bags twice as often. If you have a big household that goes through greens fast, this one still works for you. If you're buying for 1 or 2 people, buy the smaller bag and replace it more often. You'll actually eat more of what you pay for. This is about your money, not just what looks efficient on a shelf. Item number 3. The Costco bakery, muffins and croissants. That 6-pack of giant muffins by the entrance is almost impossible to walk past. Here's the part that matters. Bakery items at big box stores are priced to move volume, and the portion sizes are intentionally oversized to create a sense of value. Nutrition and food industry writers have pointed out for years that bakery portion inflation is one of the most common ways stores create a perception of a deal without actually improving the per-serving cost. Retail data consistently shows bakery sections carry some of the highest markup relative to ingredient cost of anything in a grocery store, even at wholesale clubs. I used to buy the croissants every trip because my kids loved them. What I noticed, once I actually paid attention, is that half the box went stale before we got through it, because nobody eats 6 giant croissants in a reasonable window. I switched to buying half as many from a local bakery instead, and we finished them fresh every time. If bakery items are a treat, you'll finish quickly. Enjoy them. If they're sitting on your counter going stale by day 4, You're not saving anything, you're just buying trash with extra steps. Nobody wants to hear that about something that tastes this good. But your wallet doesn't care how good it tastes. Item number 4. Extended warranties on electronics. This one surprised me more than almost anything else on this list, and it's coming up soon. So keep watching, because item number 6 is the one you really won't believe. Costco pushes extended protection plans on electronics at checkout, and a lot of people say yes without thinking twice because it feels like part of the Costco trust factor. Consumer advocacy groups have repeatedly found that extended warranties on electronics are among the lowest value add-ons in retail, largely because most electronics that fail do so either very early, which is already covered by manufacturer warranty, or well past the extended warranty window. Industry analysts have noted that extended warranty programs are consistently one of the highest margin products retailers sell, specifically because so few people ever use them. I bought one on a laptop 3 years ago. It expired unused. I bought one on a TV 2 years ago. Also expired unused. When I actually looked at the math, the premium I paid for both warranties combined was close to what a basic repair would have cost out of pocket anyway. Before you say yes at checkout, ask yourself honestly how often you've actually used one of these plans in the past. For most people, the answer is rarely or never. Skip it and put that money toward an emergency fund instead. This one is easy to say yes to without thinking. That's exactly why it belongs on this list. Item number 5. The Costco book and media section. The book table used to be a genuine deal. That's changed. With most people reading on devices or using library apps now, physical book and media sections at big box stores have shrunk and shifted towards slower moving inventory, meaning what's left on the table is often not the deep discount it used to represent. Retail trend reports have shown declining foot traffic and shrinking shelf space for physical media across most warehouse retailers over the past several years, which changes what kind of pricing logic even applies anymore. I used to grab 2 or 3 books every trip just because they were there and seemed cheap. When I compared prices against a library app I already had access to for free, or against second-hand bookstores, the Costco price wasn't actually the best deal. It was just the most convenient one sitting in front of me. If you're an avid physical book buyer who compares prices, this section can still work. If you're grabbing books on impulse because the price looks reasonable, check a library app first. You might already have free access to the exact same title. Convenience and value are not the same thing, even when they're sitting on the same table. Item number 6. The Kirkland Signature. Vitamins and supplements. Here it is. This is the one that actually changed how I shop. For years, I assumed Kirkland Signature supplements were made in the same facilities, to the same formulas, as name brand equivalents, just repackaged cheaper. That's true for some Kirkland products. It is not universally true across every supplement line, and formulations, dosages, and sourcing can vary by product and can change over time. Supplement industry watchdogs have pointed out that store-brand supplement formulations are not always identical to name-brand counterparts, even when marketed as comparable, and dosage or ingredient sourcing can differ in ways that matter depending on what you're taking it for. I talked to a friend who used to work in retail pharmacy operations, and she told me the assumption that store brand always equals name brand under the hood is one of the most common misunderstandings shoppers have, and it applies to supplements more than almost any other category. Before assuming a Kirkland supplement is an identical swap for what your doctor recommended, actually compare the label, the dosage, and the specific ingredients. Don't assume the packaging tells the whole story. This one matters because it's not just about money. It's about actually getting what you think you're paying for. Item number 7. Costco gas. When you're not actually saving. Costco gas has a reputation as the best price in town, and for a lot of areas, that reputation is earned. But gas pricing is hyper-local and changes daily. Depending on your specific area, warehouse club gas savings compared to the cheapest local station can range from meaningful to almost nothing, And sitting in a long Costco gas line burns both time and, ironically, a little bit of the gas you're trying to save on. Fuel price tracking services have shown that the gap between warehouse club prices and the lowest local competitor fluctuates constantly and is not a fixed advantage everywhere. I used to drive 15 minutes out of my way and sit in line for 10 more, convinced I was getting the best deal in town. One week, I actually checked a gas price app before doing it. The station 2 minutes from my house was 4 cents more per gallon. After accounting for the extra driving, I wasn't saving anything. Check a real-time gas price app before you make the special trip. Sometimes Costco wins by a mile. Sometimes it doesn't win at all, and you're just burning time you didn't need to burn. Habits are powerful. That doesn't mean they're still saving you money. Item number 8, seasonal decor and holiday items. The seasonal aisle at Costco is designed to catch you completely off guard, and it works. These items are typically ordered in bulk, well ahead of the season, based on forecasted demand, and pricing reflects that bulk ordering strategy rather than reflecting a genuine discount versus specialty retailers, especially once you account for quality and material differences. Retail buying analysts have noted that seasonal and holiday categories are some of the most impulse-driven purchases in any large format store, specifically because the visual display is built to create urgency around a limited time window. I have a box in my garage full of seasonal decorations I bought because they looked good in the store, and I told myself I'd use them every year. Most of them were used once. When I actually calculated cost per use, several items worked out to nearly the price of things I could have rented or borrowed for one occasion. Before buying seasonal decor, ask yourself honestly if you'll use it more than once or twice. If the answer is no, a one-time rental or a second-hand option is almost always the smarter move. The urgency you feel in that aisle is by design. You're allowed to walk past it. Item number 9. Bulk snack variety packs. The giant snack variety box feels efficient. One purchase, weeks of snacks handled. The issue is per unit cost. When you break down the actual price per snack in a lot of these variety packs, it's frequently higher than buying the same brands on sale at a regular grocery store, especially when that store runs a promotion. Bulk packaging creates a perception of savings that doesn't always hold up per item. Consumer pricing comparisons have repeatedly shown that bulk snack and variety packs at warehouse clubs are not automatically cheaper per unit than sale-priced items elsewhere, despite the bulk framing suggesting otherwise. I started actually calculating price per bag or per bar on my phone while standing in the aisle. More than once, the bulk deal in my cart was more expensive per snack than the same exact brand on sale the week before at a regular store. Before you commit to the giant box, pull up a calculator and do the per unit math right there in the aisle. It takes 30 seconds and it will change what ends up in your cart. Bulk isn't a synonym for cheap. Sometimes it's just a synonym for a bigger box. Item number 10. The Costco Executive Membership Upgrade. This one isn't a product on a shelf, but it might be the biggest line item on this entire list. The executive membership costs more upfront and promises a 2% reward on qualifying purchases, up to a capped annual maximum. That reward only becomes a genuine upgrade in value if your household spends enough per year to actually clear the higher membership cost through that 2% return. Personal finance analysts have pointed out for years that membership tier upgrades across various retailers only make financial sense above a specific spending threshold, and a meaningful portion of members who upgrade never actually spend enough to break even on the higher fee. I upgraded years ago because it sounded like the responsible, savvy thing to do. I never once sat down and calculated my actual annual Costco spending against the reward I was getting back. When I finally did the math this year, I realized I would have needed to spend significantly more per year than I actually do just to break even on the upgrade. Before you upgrade, calculate your actual annual spending at Costco, multiply it by 2%, and compare that number honestly to the price difference between memberships. Don't assume the upgrade automatically pays for itself. Sometimes the biggest waste on this whole list isn't a product at all. It's a decision you made once and never revisited. Item number 11, prepared meal kits and ready-to-eat trays. The prepared food section has grown a lot at Costco over the past few years, and it's easy to see why it's tempting. The convenience premium on prepared meals is real, and it's often significantly higher per serving than buying the same core ingredients separately and preparing them yourself, even accounting for the time saved. Food cost analysts have consistently found that pre-assembled meal trays and kits carry some of the highest markup relative to raw ingredient cost across grocery categories. Industry reporting on grocery pricing trends has noted that convenience-oriented prepared food sections have expanded specifically because margins on them tend to run higher than on raw grocery items. I bought a prepared pasta tray a few months ago because I was exhausted after a long week. It fed my family for one dinner. When I looked at the ingredient list and priced out buying those same ingredients separately, I could have made almost 3 meals worth of the same dish for close to the same total cost. If your time is genuinely at a premium that week, this can still be worth it occasionally. Just don't let it become a weekly habit without checking the real cost difference every so often. Convenience has a price tag. You just don't always see it printed on the label. So here's the pattern running through every single one of these 11 things. None of them are scams. None of them are bad products. They're simply priced and packaged in ways that are designed to feel like automatic value, whether or not they actually are for your specific household. The people who save real money at Costco aren't the ones avoiding the store. They're the ones who stopped shopping on autopilot and started actually checking the math, even just occasionally. Most shoppers will keep grabbing these same 11 things out of habit without ever running the numbers, and they'll never notice the difference it's quietly making. You don't have to be one of them. You don't need to panic about any of this. You just need to pay a little more attention next time you're in that aisle. If this changed how you'll shop on your next Costco run, hit subscribe, because next week I'm covering the flip side, the items at Costco that are genuinely worth every dollar. Drop a comment and let me know which one of these 11 surprised you the most. I'll see you in the next one.